The first meeting of Donald Trump's Peace Council turned into loud threats of a major war. Donald Trump announced that Iran has 10 days left to accept the nuclear deal. Otherwise, the United States will move to open military attack, and then the regime in Tehran will come to an end. At the same time, Trump talked a lot about how wonderful a place the Gaza Strip would be after he rebuilds it. Trump has already allocated $10 billion for its reconstruction, and a number of countries have agreed to send their troops into Gaza to stabilize the situation. Although it should be noted that Hamas militants have not even begun real disarmament yet, as required by the peace agreement. Overall, estimates of the cost of reconstructing the Gaza Strip after 2 years of devastating war reach $70 billion. In this episode, we will sum up the initial results of Donald Trump's first debut Peace Council. My name is Alexi Pichi. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave your comment below. Also subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pichi News. The link is in the description of this video.
I think we'll have to smile. A lot of good things. A lot of good things.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody like the music?
Yes, it's a song. That's good music.
That's how the first Donald Trump World Council began. It looked strange and somewhat funny and also theatrical. Everyone was forcing smiles and playing along with Donald Trump when he asked if they liked the music. But in this episode, I won't analyze the summit participants, the overall atmosphere, and so on. Instead, I'll focus on specifics. The first thing that absolutely all global media have already reported is that at the Peace Summit, Trump threatened Iran with war. It does sound poetic. The United States president warned Iran that the country must make a deal regarding its nuclear program, threatening very bad consequences otherwise, and set a deadline of 10 to 15 days. Tehran responded with a threat to strike American bases in the region if it is attacked. Trump said that negotiations with Iran to end the tense standoff are going well, but demanded that Tehran reach a full agreement. Trump mentioned the United States airstrikes carried out in June last year and said that Washington might have to take a step further or maybe not. Quote, "You'll probably find out within the next 10 days. I think that amount of time will be enough. 10 to 15 days is actually the maximum." At the same time, in a letter to United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Tehran stated that it would not start a war, but warned of a decisive and proportionate response within the right to self-defense in the event of any military aggression against Iran. Next, I'll quote the letter from Tehran for you. "All bases, facilities, and assets of hostile forces in the region will be considered legitimate targets. The United States will bear full and direct responsibility for any unpredictable and uncontrollable consequences." But the key topic of the Peace Summit was still the Gaza Strip, which was the reason this summit was created in the first place. So, at the first meeting of the Peace Council, it was promised to allocate $10 billion from the United States as well as $7 billion in additional funds for aid and the reconstruction of Gaza. The package of measures also included plans to deploy thousands of soldiers and police officers to create new security organizations in the enclave. However, since the ceasefire remains extremely fragile, success depends on Hamas's willingness to begin disarmament and Israel's readiness to support and assist the new government in Gaza and gradually withdraw its troops. At the Peace Council meeting, more than 20 leaders or foreign ministers of member states joined Trump. Well, in addition to the $10 billion promised by Trump to the board of directors. By the way, it's important to understand that these $10 billion haven't been allocated yet. They've just been promised because they still need to be approved by Congress. And in addition, another $7 billion were promised for Gaza, mostly from the Gulf countries. This money will be transferred to a special account at the World Bank. In his speech, Trump stated that the United Nations promised to raise another $2 billion for humanitarian aid. Japan will convene a conference of Asian donors to raise additional funds. And even Fédération Internationale de Football Association will allocate $75 million for football projects in the Gaza Strip. But overall, according to United Nations estimates, $70 billion will be needed to rebuild Gaza. Money is already being collected, which is good. A preliminary reconstruction plan was also presented at the Peace Council meeting. The goal is to start with the city of Arafat in the south of the Gaza Strip, rebuild it, and then gradually move on to other areas. But it's important to understand that Arafat is still under the control of Israeli forces. A number of Muslim and Arab countries, including Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Morocco, Kosovo, Kazakhstan, and Albania, have also agreed to send troops and police as part of the international stabilization forces that will be deployed in Gaza in the coming months. Ultimately, the security forces will number 20,000 troops in 5 brigades, each of which will be deployed in a separate area of Gaza, starting again with Rafah in the south but then expanding. In addition, a new Palestinian police force will soon be formed, aiming to train 5,000 officers within the next 2 months and eventually bring the total number of police officers to 12,000. Interestingly, recruitment has already begun recently, and 2,000 Palestinians have already applied. Egypt and Jordan have stated that they will train these new police officers on their own territory. But here comes the problem. Hamas still hasn't been dismantled. So of course all these plans sound great, really promising for the future, but Hamas still remains in place for now. Trump stated in his speech that he believes Hamas will fulfill its obligations to disarm, but said that otherwise there will be consequences. But it became known that the United States and other mediators, Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt, have agreed on the framework for the demilitarization process. So these 4 countries will be responsible for disarming Hamas, but it seems that Hamas itself is not ready to give up its weapons. Immediately after the Peace Council meeting, Hamas made a statement accusing Israel of violating the ceasefire and called on the members of the Peace Council to place all responsibility on Israel. They claim that the peace agreement has been disrupted, that Israel allegedly violated the ceasefire, and therefore, under this peace agreement, Hamas is not obligated to disarm. So much for all the agreements. Nevertheless, Trump even showed a video that modeled the future of the Gaza Strip.
We'll return to classrooms with a curriculum that promotes tolerance, dignity, and peace. Our goal by year 3, Rafah fully rebuilt, unemployment curbed, and Gaza connected to the world through an Abrahamic gateway, linking it with Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and extending to India and Europe. By year 10, Gaza will be self-governed, integrated into the region with thriving industries, housing for all. This is the framework for Gaza's rebirth, secure, prosperous, and peaceful.
I'll list several points. Please share your thoughts and conclusions in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and don't forget to like if you found this issue interesting and useful. You can support the work of this YouTube channel financially with your donation or paid subscription using the links and details in the description of this video. I will be grateful for any support from you. That's all. Take care of yourself. Bye everyone.